Hello guys, Bud here with Dependable Lawn Care. Starting on a new project today, and I'm really excited about this project. I'll give you a quick background on what I'm doing. So I picked up this Bobcat 48-inch walk-behind mower, and as you can see, it's been well used. The front and rear tires are all foam filled, but the rear tires are definitely wore out. It's got some rust, you know, it's just typical for a mower that's been used hard, but it's a great platform for the project that I'm about to start. What I'm going to be doing is turning this walk-behind mower into a brush mower. And if you know what I'm talking about, as far as a brush mower goes, there's a lot of manufacturers. The thing about brush mowers, new for a commercial grade brush mower, you're going to be paying $4,000 and up. For a good used one, you're still going to be paying about half that. They don't really go down in value. And I have a couple jobs where what I need really is a brush mower to get the properties in shape before I take my good mowers and use them. You know, there's saplings and brush that I just need to clear up first. I started looking at how can I build my own, and as I looked at them and researched, you know, watched a bunch of videos on them, I realized that basically a brush mower is a walk-behind mower with a modified deck. There's not a whole lot of difference as far as the drivetrain, you know, your controls, engine placement, wheel placement, all that stuff is about the same. Some of them are belt drive, some of them are hydraulic. So I purchased this mower for $500, and my plan is to put some knobby tires on the back that will get around good in that kind of terrain, and modify the front of the deck and turn this into a brush mower for about a fourth of the price that I would have spent to purchase a brush mower. And I really truly think that I'll have a better piece of equipment in the end, and we'll have spent considerably less, which means the time it will take me to make profit will happen a lot faster than it would if I were to spend $2,000 or more on a brush mower. So I think I can easily stay under $800 on this project and have a pretty mean 48-inch wide brush mower that will do everything I need to do and come out ahead on price. I'm going to get started. I've got tires ordered already. So the next thing I need to do is start measuring and figuring out what modifications I need to make on the front of the deck. I also am going to move the deck up to its highest position and do the same in the front with the front wheels. I'm going to make the front wheels where they can fold out of the way. So you've got the front wheels for transporting, and then once you get into the brush, you can fold those wheels up if you need them out of the way, or you can leave them down. And then of course I'll have to put some kind of skids on the bottom of the sides of the deck. So I've got a few things I need to do. But anyways, this is day one of the project, and this is the mower as it is, unmodified. So what I've done so far is I've adjusted the deck all the way up, and then I removed the two front casters, which, as you can see, it was just 4 bolts. They were all 9/16. And I'll show you what I did with those. Here are the casters that I took off. The top one, I just went ahead and took I took the spindle out, or the actual caster, and the spacers. So what I'm going to do is heat up that bend, heat up this 90-degree bend, and I'm going to flatten this out. So I'm going to take this piece, bend it up, and this will just be one flat piece. I straightened out the base plates like I was talking about. I took the 90-degree out of it, heated it up with the torch, and then just bent it flat. Used my anvil and a hammer to finish smoothing it out. And then I cut these 4-inch pieces of pipe So they're going to run just like this, one across the back, one across the front, on each of those plates. And that's where my pins are going to run through to hold the front wheels in place. And what I'll be able to do is pull the front pin, leave the back pin, and I can just fold that wheel back out of the way. I have everything measured out. I'm getting ready to take the yardstick off, but I thought it would be easier to see the line that I made with it on. That's how much of the front of the deck I'm going to take off. And basically what I'm doing is the three blades are staggered. You have that one, this one, and this one. So this is the forwardmost blade. And that blade comes to about right here, the end of it. So I'm going to cut it off right here, the front of the deck. I'm going to chop it off, and that way the front opening of the deck will be just right in front of that blade. One last look before I cut it off. I'm going to start right there, go across, and then this is where I'm going to take the nose of the deck off, and then turn there and go to right there and down. I'm not actually gonna cut that. So anyway, that's the plan. Time to grab the grinder with the cutting wheel. Wanted to give you guys a visual real quick of how much I took off. So this is the piece. This is the piece that I cut off. And that's how much we opened that thing up. So you can see I left a little bit on the very end, on the corners, and that was just to keep a little bit of strength right there. But I've got to say, I've never owned a Bobcat before, and I hope no one thinks that I'm picking on Bobcat by choosing it to turn into a brush mower. Actually, quite the opposite. I felt like this was going to be a very solid platform that would be tough enough to be a brush mower. So I'm by no means picking on Bobcat by using it for this project. That being said, look how thick that metal is. That's probably 3/16 thick plate for the deck. That's pretty awesome. That is some good solid metal. So anyways, the front blade, let me get it turned here. So there you go. There's the front foremost blade, and this is looking straight down on it. So you can see it's in there just a little ways. But what that's gonna do for me is have that blade right out to the front, so that when I come up to a sapling, you know, or a small tree that I'm going to take out while I'm brush mowing, I'll be able to cut right through that little sapling before it even gets very far under the deck. That's where I'm at right now. That's how far I've gotten today. I have my front arm. It's all cleaned up and ready to go. I cut about an inch off the front of it after I welded my pipe on, because there just really wasn't any purpose for that steel on there for the way I'm going to be doing it. And then I've got a piece of angle iron cut for each side, and this is a 2" by 2" angle iron. It's the same thickness as the other metal on the deck, so that just worked out. And I still have to sand the corners and stuff. I'm gonna round those off, but I think what I'm gonna do is something like that, with a pin ran through that back pipe, so that this will pivot like this, so that the wheels can fold up out of the way. So the only thing that will still be sticking out will be this bracket, but I'm going to have the corners knocked off of it, and then I'll have a piece extending on this side to do the same thing, so I can put a pin through the front pipe. I have my side braces for my front spindles, both welded on. So the next thing I need to do is make an extension right here that's going to come out the same length as this. So I'm going to get those cut real quick and get those welded on, and I'll be ready to drill for the front spindles. My brackets are welded in place on both sides, and I'll show you that a little bit closer before I'm done. But right now I have the mount plates, or the base plates for the front spindles, clamped in place so I can drill the holes. And these are what I'm using for the pins, front and back, and they're just a 1/2 inch eye bolt, and I just cut the threaded end off of it. That was the cheapest option that I could find. A lot of fabricating that goes into this kind of stuff. This side's done now, so I'll show you real quick how it works. You've got full range of motion with your caster, so all the brackets are out of the way, which is great. And come over to this side, remove the linch pin, pull this pin, and the wheel folds up out of the way. So once I get my skids on it, the skids on both sides will probably be about 4 inches tall from the bottom of the deck. For what this is going to be used for, I don't see any reason to be cutting any shorter than 4 inches. This will be great to get the wheels up out of the way whenever you're in really thick, nasty stuff. You know, viney, thorny stuff that can get tangled up in your casters. But the wheels will be great for trailering and transporting. You know, getting your machine on the trailer, getting your machine from the trailer to the site that you're going to be using it at, and then once you get into the material that you're actually cutting, or the area that you're actually cutting, you can fold those wheels up real quick and have at it. This is the end of day 2 on this project. I got both of the spindle mounts done. So now both wheels can flip up out of the way. On this side I ran a full piece of angle iron to make my bracket. On this side I had the existing brace that came down right here, and then it stopped. So what I did is I cut a piece of angle iron to match it up here, and then you can't really see it anymore, but I cut it to match that angle so that it would come straight out with the other one. And then I welded it inside and out and underneath, and then just ground it down on the inside so that it wouldn't interfere with my plate. So that's how I did that side. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon on day 3 of this project, and I think I'm just about done fabricating. I still need to change the blades, because as you know, there's a big difference between lawn mowing blades and brush blades. Brush blades are flat, and lawn mowing blades have a lift that creates vacuum. So I'm going to need to change the blades, and tires are coming, should be here any day. So I'll show you what I've accomplished so far. So I made my skids on both sides out of 1.25 inch heavy pipe with 1.5 by 1.5 inch angle iron to mount it to the deck. And as you can see, I welded everything. I don't have anything bolt on. And then I used some smaller diameter pipes, some 1 inch that fit right inside of the other pipe to make my push bar. So I'll show you that from the side. The push bar comes up right underneath the arms and comes out in front of the deck about 6 inches. And then I also welded another piece of that same pipe across the front of the deck just to give it a little bit of reinforcement, you know, just in case. how I did all of that. So now this is all open as far as the chute goes, and then I have to set up the camera and show you how everything works with the front wheels. But I think this is going to work out pretty slick. It's a mean-looking little booger, and you know, really little nothing. I mean, a 48-inch wide brush mower. That's nothing small. So. Alright, that's how hard it is to go from wheeling it to sitting on the skids. My new tires should raise it up in the back about an inch, but whether it does or doesn't, I think that sits pretty good, just like that. And if it's sitting on the skids, I've got about 3.5 to 4 inches between the ground and the blades. Here's the difference in the blades. So here is the standard mowing blade that was on this, and here are the blades that I'm putting on to turn it into a brush mower. They're almost completely flat. They don't have any lift. It's just a flat cutting blade. And one of the reasons for that is if you were coming up to a sapling and starting to chop into it with this blade, it's going to have a tendency to get hung up because of the lift. That lift is going to catch and essentially stop your blade. With a flat blade, you come up to a sapling, you hit it, it just starts chopping through it because there's no resistance. It's just a flat blade. So I'm going to swap those out. All painted up. Safety green on all the parts that I fabricated. And then I left the chassis alone. I thought about repainting that too, but that's just a whole lot of time just for something that's cosmetic, and I really didn't care about the color matching as much as I do the corrosion resistance, and you know, wanted to look professional when I pull up on a job, so that'll look good, protect it from rusting, and it's not that far off color. I tried to find that color actually, and I took a paint chip with me, tried to match that color up, and honestly this safety green was about the closest color match, even though it doesn't look like it. Of course, this, what I sprayed on, it'll darken up some as it dries. You can kind of see that a little bit on this hood over here, and there's some of the paint on the floor. from a previous touch-up, and that color that's on the floor isn't that far off from the chassis. That actually looks like a pretty close match, so I think it'll be fine once it dries and cures. I'm probably the only one that would ever notice it anyways. I'm a little over picky about that kind of stuff. So anyway, it's all painted up as soon as all the parts are dry. I'll get it assembled, and hopefully by then the tires will be in and we can get this dude out and test it.